Hey guys, it's Sarah. Thank you so much for watching. So today's video is a really exciting one. I am going to be sharing my top favorite products from the entire year of 2019. Many of these things were products that I discovered this year, but some of them have been in my collection for a long time. Some of them are even repeat winners from previous years, so I'll make sure to let you know which ones those are and which ones I discovered more recently. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to go in order of how you would normally apply products. And I believe the only categories that I don't have a favorite to mention are primer, face primer, eyeshadow primer, and bronzer. But other than that, this is a pretty comprehensive list. So let's not waste any more time. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with foundation. If you've been watching my channel this year at all, or for any length of time really, you probably know that my favorite foundation is the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation. I always rave about it. This is a two-time winner. This was also in my 2018 yearly favorites, and it's still my favorite. I'm planning on repurchasing it. This one is actually completely empty. But ever since I used this up, I've been so sad because I don't like any of my other foundations as much as I liked this one. It's just such a foolproof product. By the way, I wear the shade LN3, which is like a perfect shade match for me. So I can't wait to get my hands on this again. I love this foundation. Solid, medium, buildable coverage, very skin-like. It's not overly matte, it's not overly dewy, it's kind of right in the middle. I've compared it before to a BB cream, but I would say that it has just a little more coverage than your average BB cream. Only good things to say about that product, really. My concealer. I don't think I had a favorite concealer last year or the year before. I think I just left those categories blank in this video. But this year, I do have a favorite concealer to share with you, and it's one that I think really flies under the radar for most people. I haven't heard anyone else talk about this concealer, but it's from Jordana. Anyone else remember Jordana Cosmetics? You can pretty much only purchase this from their website nowadays, which is kind of sad. It used to be available at Walgreens, but I think Walgreens has kind of phased it out. But the brand still exists, they still have lots of great products, and this is one of my favorites that I've tried from them. Now, this is their Take Cover Full Coverage Concealer. I wear the shade Porcelain, which is 02. The only thing I will say, and I've said this before, it's not truly full coverage. It's labeled as a full coverage concealer. I would say it has more average coverage. This is what I'm wearing today on my under eyes. It's not like as full coverage as, say, the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer, but it is just such a beautiful texture. It blends in so quickly and easily. It almost just like melts right into your skin. It sits on top of the skin beautifully. It doesn't crease very much. I do have fine lines on my under eyes, and yes, it's gonna crease, especially if you don't set your under eyes like every concealer does, but it's not nearly as bad as other concealers that I've tried. This surprisingly has an amazingly extensive shade range. For Jordana, you wouldn't expect this to have a good shade range. I don't know, I just don't look at Jordana as like one of those brands that has huge shade ranges. I don't even think of Jordana as a brand that's known for complexion products at all, but it does come in 18 shades, which yes, could be bigger, but it's a nice range of fair to deep, and you've got some great medium shades in the middle. So I think they're doing pretty well. It's a doe foot applicator. I really like, it's kind of a paddle shaped doe foot, and I like that because it just swipes right on. My favorite way to blend it in is with a damp sponge, and it blends in like seconds. It just makes me really happy to apply it because it's like it just becomes one with my skin so quickly. It's not super sticky, it doesn't look heavy on your under eyes. It's just a beautiful product. I feel like a lot of people would like this. Again, it's not like Shape Tape or e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo or anything like quite that extreme, but the trade-off is it just looks a lot more natural on your skin. So I'm a huge fan. Really feel like more people need to be talking about this, but I understand why they're not. It's because it's like not a very widely accessible brand, but I still think it's worth trying if you haven't tried it yet. All right, moving right along. So powder. I have 3 powders, but they're all different kinds of powder. I have an under eye setting powder, a loose face powder, and a pressed face powder. And would you believe they are all from e.l.f. e.l.f. just does powders really well, in my opinion. So the under eye setting powder, this is a second-time winner. This is their HD under eye setting powder. Last year I think the one I had was their Smooth and Set under eye powder. They're pretty much the same product, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that it's a second-time winner because I think it's the same thing. I have just the translucent one. I think they might have a few other shades, but for me the translucent works great. I don't feel like it leaves a white cast or anything, even though it is one of those kind of white-ish translucent powders. And for me, it's enough to take away the tackiness of my under eye concealer, set it in place enough to keep it from creasing, but not enough to make my under eyes look powdery and dry and cakey. So that's what I love about this. It's just really reliable. It's always worked well for me, and it's like $3, so I feel like this is just gonna continue to be my go-to under eye powder. It just works. It's like a workhorse for me. The loose powder is also one of the e.l.f. HD powders. I have it in Soft Luminance. If you look closely at this, you will see some almost undetectable shimmer to it, and it doesn't pick up once it's on your skin. I really don't think it does. Maybe if you looked closely. But if you like a very lightweight setting powder that is enough, again, it's enough to take away any tackiness of your foundation and set it in place, but not enough to make your face look dry and heavy and super flat and matte, this is the setting powder for you. And I like that it's a loose setting powder because I feel like with loose setting powders you have a little bit more control of how much, well, that doesn't make sense. No, that's not true. For some reason it just seems more lightweight to me than a pressed powder. That could just be all in my head. I just kind of like the experience of using a loose powder for some reason. And this one's, it's very finely milled. So when it has this nice like twist top that you can turn to like sprinkle it out. But when you sprinkle it out, it actually like pours out. So that just shows you how finely milled it is. But I like that because it just looks almost, again, undetectable on your skin. So really love this powder. Then the pressed powder I have, if you're more of a pressed powder kind of person, the e.l.f. Prime and Stay Finishing Powder. This is more of a recent discovery for me. Both of these were 2019 discoveries, but this one is the most recent. I bought this for like $2. I think it's $3 now on their site, but I mean, it's like as inexpensive as it gets pretty much for a powder. And again, it's more of a translucent powder. None of these powders I'm talking about really have much coverage, which is okay with me because I don't really look for a lot of coverage in my powder. I kind of just expect my foundation to take care of that for me. But that's just kind of what I prefer, so those are the ones I've tried more of. Really lightweight, almost has a little bit of a blurring quality that I've noticed. It almost makes my skin look a little airbrushed. Super inexpensive. I love a good bargain, and this one just happens to be a really good product. So those are my 3 powder favorites, coincidentally all from e.l.f. So like I said, I don't have a bronzer favorite, but I do have a contour. This is also from Jordana. I tried a bunch of products from Jordana this year. That concealer and this product were really like the 2 standout products that I tried, but this is their Sculpt & Go Creamy Contour Stick in the shade Light. I like to apply it to my brush first and then apply it to my skin rather than like drawing on a stripe, because I feel like when I just draw it directly on, it's harder to blend out that way. I don't mind that because I don't feel like it's any harder to just apply it with a brush first, but what I just love this because it's like really just a truly cool toned contour. I mean, I would say like neutral to cool, but it really doesn't have any warmth to it at all. A lot of these cream sticks are more like bronzers as opposed to an actual contour. And I feel like it's really hard to find a true cool toned contour from the drugstore, and that's why I'm so excited to have found this product. I feel like no one talks about it. It's like $3 or $4, and it's really like such a hidden gem at the drugstore. Not only is it good for the drugstore, it's just a good product, and same goes for all of these. So for blush, this is also a product I discovered this year, and I feel like so many people discovered this blush this year, and I really did buy it because of the hype. It lived up to the hype, and it's the Flower Beauty Blush Balm, and I have the shade Pinched. I'm wearing this today. You can see, I mean, I have a highlight on too, but it really just makes my cheeks look very healthy and juicy. And this was really the year that I started exploring more cream products, and I still reach for my powder products more often, but I also have this like new appreciation for cream and liquid products. So this has a nice squeeze tube. I will just squeeze it directly onto my cheek and then blend it out with either my finger or a sponge or a brush. It's really not picky. You can apply it however you want because it's just so foolproof. And I even applied it today after I'd already put face powder on and it still blended out just fine. It didn't mess with the makeup underneath. So it's just like you can't mess it up. So if you're on the fence about cream products, you haven't really found any that you like, I would recommend trying this because it's just easy to pull off and easy to wear. This shade especially is just very flattering, at least on my skin tone, but it is kind of a light peach, so if you do have a deeper skin tone, they have much deeper options as well. Just such a nice product. I don't know, it's almost like a gel texture. Yeah, I'm so glad that I gave into the hype because it's a great product and really one of my favorite discoveries of 2019. Another one of my favorite discoveries of 2019 is my highlighter pick for this video, and you can probably guess. It's the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in Champagne Pop. It's just their original powder. I have the mini. I bought this as a set. It was called their Glow on the Go, is that what it was? Highlighter set. It had this and then their liquid Shimmering Skin Perfector, both in Champagne Pop. I got it. It was $20 on Sephora's website. I don't think that set is available on there anymore, but I think you can still find it other places, and I've also seen it at TJ Maxx. But anyway, obviously I had a feeling I was gonna like this because I bought it, but I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I do. This I'm wearing today again, and there is really something special about this highlighter. And I don't want to say that it looks like a cream, because I don't know if that's really the case. It just gives you a very smooth glow, if that makes sense. Like, it's not, sometimes with highlighters you can kind of see little patches of shimmer here and there, even if it's not glittery. It's not like a perfectly even application. But with this, it just, you can tell I'm wearing highlighter for sure, but it looks so seamless because, I don't know, the shimmers are just so smooth. I can't even describe it, but that's the best I can do. I definitely feel like these Becca highlighters live up to the hype, and I know I'm very late to the party on these. I mean, these have been around for years, but it's a beautiful color. And the shade Champagne Pop, I was almost worried would be too dark on my skin tone, but I think it works beautifully, and I think that if maybe you had a skin tone even fairer than mine, it may be a little too dark. So for setting spray, now this is more of a finishing spray, I would call it, or like a fixing spray. I wouldn't say that it's a setting spray in a sense that it's going to actually set your makeup and make it last longer, but this is a product I discovered very early in the year. I think literally in like January of 2019 was when I bought it, and it's the Pixi Glow Mist. You can see I've used quite a bit of it. It's a very hydrating setting spray, so if you have oily skin, you might not like this, but I have more normal skin. It can be a little dry, depending on the time of year. It like melts my makeup together. It kind of just makes it one with my skin, and it just gives such a naturally glowy finish. If you spray a ton of this on, your skin is gonna look a little bit shiny, which isn't always a bad thing in my opinion, but if you don't want to look super shiny, you're gonna want to use it a little bit more sparingly. But I feel like even when my base is looking a little dry, a little cakey, patchy, whatever, something about this just like fixes the problem. Not completely, but it makes everything look just a little bit better. I don't know, it's weird, it's amazing. And I'm not somebody who really seeks out setting sprays that are like long lasting, because I don't struggle with my makeup wearing off really, but for me it's just a great last step in my makeup routine because it just seals everything together, gives me just exactly the finish that I want. It takes away any of that powdery matte look that my powder might have given me, and just, I don't know, it's like a miracle product. I really like it. Okay, so for brows, the best brow product I found this year is from the drugstore, and it's the CoverGirl Ultra Fine Brow Pencil. I have the shade Soft Blonde. The biggest reason why I love this so much is the shade. It's just the perfect shade. I'm wearing this today and I actually finished this today. This is kind of an interesting one because I don't plan to repurchase this, and that's because I just go through it too quickly. But I think that's the case with any skinny eyebrow pencil like this. So if you're aware of that and you're okay with how quickly you use it up and you just prefer a pencil, this is my favorite pencil that I personally have ever tried. A lot of that has to do with the shade, because it's just the right tone of taupe for me. It doesn't really pull warm in my brows, which is what I like about it. I don't like any warmth in my brows, really. Maybe like the slightest bit, but I really prefer like a true cool taupe. So that's why I love this pencil so much. It's also just the perfect cross between, let's see if I can get any on here, between creamy and not too creamy that it's like melting all over your brows as you apply it. So I love this product. Sad that I won't be repurchasing it anymore. I actually just ordered the ABH brow pomade in taupe, so I'm hoping that I can use that and not have to purchase pencils anymore, because I've gone through so many eyebrow pencils this year and they're just not cost effective. I feel like even though the ABH one is like $21, is that right? It's gonna last me a long time. I've heard some people say it lasts them like a year or more. So that's way more cost effective than purchasing even like a $5 pencil over and over and over again, like 4 or 5 times a year. But I have to be honest, this is my favorite brow pencil this year. I'm just not gonna repurchase it. I hope that makes sense. And then I also found a brow gel this year that I really liked. And in the past, I've never really been a brow gel person, except for like years ago I used clear brow gel and thought it was really good, but it actually wasn't. Like, it wasn't doing me any favors with my brows. But now that I've gotten a little better at doing my brows, I still feel like my brows are really my weak spot with my makeup. Like, they are the area of my face that I have the hardest time doing. But I feel like I'm slowly improving, and I really like how this has improved my brow game. It's the e.l.f. Wow Brow. I have it in taupe. This has one of those little bitty wands, and it is a tinted brow gel. It has fibers that you can see when you look at the brush, but I don't notice those once it's in my brows, so I don't know. But it holds my brows in place. It allows me to kind of mess around with the shape a little bit and create a little bit more fullness and fluffiness if I want it. I can really, you know, make my brow hairs stand up a little bit more with this. And it just creates the illusion that they're a little bit fuller than they really are. Keeps the shape where I want them, so really big fan of this eyebrow gel. It's the only tinted brow gel like this that I've ever tried, so I don't really have anything to compare it to. But I really like it, and for $4, I think it's a really good product. So for eyeshadow, I'm only going to really be sharing eyeshadow palette favorites because I guess the only other category would be single shadows, and I just don't really have any like tippy top favorites that fit in that category for me. So I've got sort of 2 eyeshadow palettes that are tied. Okay, the first one, I'll explain. The first one is a more high-end palette, and this is one that I discovered this year. It's the Billie Beauty Eyes of India palette. This is a very new brand, and they just released, I think, their second product, which was lipsticks, but this was their first product ever. For a while it was the only product they sold. And it's a brand that's really just inspired by the culture of India. This palette really caught my eye. I think it was through Rianne HY that I first heard about this palette, and she created like a gorgeous look using this blue shade here, and I fell in love, and I bought it like the next day because I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was like love at first sight with this palette. That doesn't happen to me very often with eyeshadow palettes, but was really excited to support and be able to promote a more indie brand on my channel, because before this, all the other palettes I had were more mainstream brands, which is fine, but I just wanted to try something new, and I love this palette. This is mostly what I'm wearing on my eyes, but I am wearing something else, another one of the favorites as well. But the shades I'm wearing are these 3 right here. Sona, the gold, Tamara in more the middle of my eye, and Kobari. I'm really trying, you guys. More in the outer corner. Oh, and then I have Kajal on my lower lash line, and Taj Mahal on my inner corner. Okay, I have more than 3 shades on my eyes. But would you just look at this color story there? Okay, so there's a lot of things I love. I love how compact this is. It's only 10 shades. I feel like that's kind of a small-ish palette these days. I mean, if you take like an Anastasia palette, those have 14 shades typically. So it's a little more compact, which I like because it narrows down my choices a little bit. It's a very curated selection of colors. There's absolutely no repeat shades here, which is a huge pet peeve of mine when palettes have like 2 shades that are practically identical. It's like you just wasted that whole space there. But this, there's no repeating shades at all. And I love that even though it's only 10 shades, it gives you so much variety all in one, because you have several different like vibrant colors to choose from. I love this pink. I love that you're getting a beautiful like grassy green color, this like cobalt blue, which this might be my favorite shade in the whole palette, a purple, 2 really beautiful matte like orangey reddish shades, and then you've got a matte brown, a matte black, and a shimmery whitish champagne color. So you have just so many directions you can go with this. I think it's probably my favorite. I'm gonna mention another favorite, but I feel like this one comes out even a little more on top just because, I don't know, I'm just so excited about it. It's cruelty-free, it's vegan. Please tell me. I just dropped it and nothing broke, so that speaks to the quality too. But it's a little pricey, but not any more pricey than like an Urban Decay palette or an ABH palette. I think it's right around $49 if I'm not mistaken. So glad I discovered this year. I just think it's beautiful. Okay, and then my other favorite, it's kind of 3 palettes, but it's 3 palettes in one. It's these e.l.f. 18 pan palettes. These are another favorite. I have 3 of them. The first one I ever bought was the Opposites Attract palette, and this is the one that introduced me to these palettes. This is a great mix of warm and cool tones. It does lean a little bit more medium to dark, so for all of these, I love all of these equally, but you're just gonna wanna look at the shades to see which ones you're gonna use more, but love that one, and obviously I loved it enough to buy more. The next one is the e.l.f. Earth and Ocean palette, and this is really the fun one. Like, this one is, if you like blues and greens and earthy tones, I love it. I love how it's separated between more blue shades and more of the green earthy shades, and yeah, gorgeous, love it. Does have 2 pressed glitters in it. I did email the brand to ask them if those shades are eye safe, and they told me that they are. But I also know that technically the FDA doesn't approve any glitters as eye safe, so I don't know. Decide for yourself how you feel about that. Do your own research, because I am not an expert. And then the New Classics palette from e.l.f. is just like your basic neutral palette, but I love this palette, and I am wearing a couple of shades from here today. Charmer, which is this beautiful, it's upside down, this beautiful mauve-y pink that's like my favorite type of crease shade ever. That's in my crease. And then I have Cream on my brow bone, and I used it to just blend everything out. I think that's all I'm wearing from this palette today, but I wanted to at least use one of these a little bit so you could sort of see it on my eyes. But I feel like of these 3, my favorite is the New Classics, just because it's the one I'm gonna get the most use out of. But I really love all 3 equally, that's why I couldn't just pick one to share. If you're looking for a really great value and you're not wanting to spend, you know, $50 on a palette, these are $14 a piece, and they are incredible. Couldn't make this video without mentioning these, because I also just, you guys hear me talk about them all the time, like constantly. I won't shut up about them, so I feel like it's kind of a given that they were gonna be included in this video. Okay, mascara. So I do still have this because I'm saving it for my yearly makeup empties, but I haven't used it in months because it's been retired long ago. But it's the Flower Lash Warrior mascara. This is, to this day, my favorite cruelty-free mascara that I've ever tried, as far as I know. This one and the Balm Mad Lash were very close contenders, but this one, since it's from the drugstore, I also just like this one a little bit better. It does have a huge brush, so if that's not your style, you wouldn't like this, and it's a rubber bristle brush. I know not everyone likes these spiky rubber bristle brushes, but I love them, and I love how it's curvy. I love curved brushes because I feel like they just push up my lashes. I don't curl my lashes, so it's nice to kind of have a little bit of like a natural curling action going on there. But I do plan to repurchase this mascara eventually. In fact, I may just repurchase it to have so that I can compare other mascaras to it for review purposes, because this one is just the best. It gives a ton of length, a ton of volume. It's just incredible. So probably not one that absolutely everyone is gonna like. I mean, definitely not, because everyone has different preferences when it comes to mascara. But if you like really long, really dramatic lashes, this is the best one I found. And it's not clumpy, and I feel like those spiky rubber bristles really help like separate and comb it out. I like how 2 sides of the brush have fewer bristles, so you can coat your lashes on that side and then you can turn it to the longer bristle side and comb through. So it's just a wonderful mascara. I noticed that they aren't selling this on Ulta's website anymore, which makes me really sad, but it's still on Walmart's website, so I guess that's where I'll be buying it from now on. Okay, we're getting close to the end. I feel like this video has been so long, but that's a lot I want to talk about. So, lip liner. My favorite lip liner from this year and for a long time is my Jordana lip liners. Now, I only have one of them on hand right now, and it's the shade Plush Plum, but it's really not a particular shade that I wanted to mention. It's just this line of lip liners. I feel like they're just such a great quality for like $2. It's like pretty much the cheapest you can find anymore, and they're just really good quality. So Plush Plum is like a deep plum shade. My favorite of all time is Tawny, which I keep saying I need to repurchase it and I still haven't, but Tawny is just like this beautiful dusty nude rose. So pretty. I think the reason I haven't repurchased it yet is because I currently have a lip liner from Urban Decay that's a similar shade, so I don't feel the need to repurchase it, but I probably will soon anyway. So many people swear by these, and I know they're not as accessible as they used to be, but again, if you're gonna place an order on Jordana's website, you gotta get at least one of these. If you like lip liner and if you wear it. Not everybody does. Okay, lipstick. I have 4. Oh gosh. I have 4 favorite lipsticks and then a lip gloss to talk about. While we're talking about Jordana, I do want to mention, this is more of a shade favorite as opposed to a formula favorite, if that makes sense, but this shade is one of my all-time favorites, and I like the formula too. It's just that I like the shade the most. So it's the Jordana Sweet Cream Matte Liquid Lipstick in Mango Sorbet. I know a lot of people aren't loving liquid lipsticks these days, and I do prefer bullet lipsticks too, but if it's a shade like this, I certainly don't mind it being a liquid lipstick. And this is just a beautiful red orange. It's not so orange that it's gonna make your lips, or that it's gonna make your teeth look yellow, I don't think. It's just, I don't know, it's more red than it is orange, if that makes sense. So it's not like you're putting like a straight up orange on your lips, but this is one of my favorite colors that I own. Had to mention it. And then while we're on the topic of reds, I also wanted to mention, this is another one of my favorites, and I like this formula of liquid lipstick better than the Jordana. It's the Physicians Formula Healthy Lip in Tulip Treatment, specifically this shade, but I love also the nude one that I have. This is just like more of a favorite for me. This is more of like a watermelon red. Both of these are beautiful for the summer, but also I feel like the holidays would be a nice time to wear these too. You guys know I love red lipstick, so of course 2 of my favorites have to be red. But not only is this color just beautiful, it's also a great formula if you don't typically like liquid lipsticks. These are a little more hydrating and comfortable than your standard like dry down liquid lipsticks. The only thing is they are not transfer proof. So that's the trade-off there, but love those. Okay, bullet lipstick, this is what I'm wearing right now. This is an expensive one. This was very generously sent to me by a subscriber and I love it. It's the Charlotte Tilbury lipstick in Pillow Talk. Have you heard of it? This is what's on my lips right now. It may look a little bit pinker than usual because I had this on first and then I decided to put this on instead. This is one of the best bullet lipstick formulas I've ever tried. It's creamy, but it's thin and lightweight, and this is actually one of their, I think it's called their Matte Revolution lipstick, if I'm not mistaken. So it is matte. I'm wearing a gloss over it, by the way. But on its own, it is matte. I guess more satin than matte. But it's just creamy enough without being like too soft and thick, you know? And the color is beautiful. It has a nice light vanilla scent. It makes me feel bougie and like, it makes me feel kind of bougie to put it on and have it in my purse, and it just looks pretty. And if you're wanting like a treat yourself lipstick, I will tell you it does live up to the hype for sure. And then another nude bullet lipstick is the Red Apple lipstick in Beachside. This is another favorite. I've had this for a couple years now, but this is the first time it's shown up in one of my yearly favorites. But I kind of rediscovered it this year. It's like a glossy, very hydrating bullet lipstick, and if you like that kind of lipstick, it is beautiful. I love it. It feels so comfortable, almost feels like you're wearing a lip balm, and I like this color too. It's kind of a tan nude, and did I say the shade? It's Beachside. So those are my 4 favorite lipsticks. I couldn't pick just one. You've got 2 bold liquid lipsticks and 2 more neutral bullet lipsticks, and I just love them. I love them all. Alright, and then finally I think the last category I have to talk about is lip gloss. This is a 2-time winner. I don't need to say much about it, but it's the NYX Butter Gloss in Creme Brulee. I have it on top of the Charlotte Tilbury lipstick right now. I mean, what can I even say? I've already raved about it 1,000 times on my channel, but it's this just beautiful kind of, you know, it's not a completely opaque gloss, but the color does show up, especially when you swatch. I mean, on your lips, it's really mostly going to blend in with your lip color if your skin tone is close to mine, but it's just like this beautiful, like milky pink color. And normally I don't love overly pink lip products, but this one is just the right tone, that it really just blends in with my lip color and just makes my lips look a little bit more perfected and juicy and plump, just like a gloss is supposed to make them look. So yeah, that's all I have to say, but still a favorite. I think I'm finally finished gushing about all these products, but I hope you enjoyed this video. You know, if you are a frequent viewer of my videos, you probably could predict a lot of these, and I think that just speaks to how much I love these products. Many of these have been favorites for longer than a year, but even the ones that I discovered this year they've just proven themselves to me as products that are probably going to be sticking around in my collection for a very long time, and even things that I'm most likely going to repurchase once they run out. So what a fun video to film. I hope you found it helpful and fun to watch. I hope you're finding some time to relax this season and just kind of sit back and enjoy your friends and your family, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon in my next video. Bye. Wait, I just turned off the camera and I remembered I wanted to say. I'm planning on doing another video where I talk about just other favorites, so skincare, body care, hair care, just miscellaneous favorites. I wanted this video to be specifically about the makeup, but I'm gonna have another like best of 2019 favorites talking about like non-makeup favorites, including skincare and then other products as well. Just wanted to add that in. Okay.